having a producer run the show, so bear with us for any technical mishaps. Welcome to the stream scene. We've got an awesome episode for you guys today. But first, I want to give a shout out to Elgato for sponsoring today's episode about the Path to Twitch partnership. The Elgato Wave 3 is a USB microphone that's more like a microphone and mixer all in one. With Elgato's Wavelink software, you can easily route your audio from hardware or software applications and control the volume for you and your audience independently. The Elgato Wave 3 is now available at elgato.com. You can check it out by typing !Elgato. And we're going to give away an Elgato Stream Deck in chat, !Stream, I think will get you entered. So make sure to enter our giveaway courtesy of Elgato. And thank you guys for being here. So first, I want to introduce my lovely co-host, the Hunter Wild. How's it going, Hunter?
Pretty heckin' good today. It's fairly warm. But I've picked up playing Pokemon Go again recently just to get out of the house and do it. Yeah, just mask on, walking around. It's been I've gotten sun. There's no more super pasty nerd boy anymore. There's at least a hint of sun kiss on my skin. It's very nice. Doing pretty fantastically other than all this extra vitamin D I've been getting. I'm pretty excited for today's show. Talking about all things related to that fresh badge of partnership. It's
fresh meat.
It's an invigorating time for people who are approaching it, who have it in their sights, and the people who have recently hit this huge, really deep milestone, including our two immaculate and incredible guests today, BlackOni and MadameGandalf. Hello.
Hi.
If you wouldn't mind introducing yourselves one at a time, and I won't pick who goes first. Let us know who you are, where we can find you, and when you got partnered.
Hi. Hi, I'm MadameGandalf. I got partnered on May 4th. I am a fantasy streamer who got partnered on a sci-fi day. So I don't know whether maybe that was a little bit of a backhand, but thank you, Twitch.
Get her.
Hey, got him. Best prank ever. They'll yeet my badge next year on the same day. Best prank ever. But yeah, and I stream fantasy RPGs, cooking, singing, and D&D or at my Green Dragon Tavern. So come on by and have a drink on me. Not on me, from me. I'll pay. That sounds like we're suddenly getting into body shots. I do apologize.
It's a new day, new experiences.
Quarantinis for everyone.
That's how you got partnered. Interesting.
There's tactics for everyone on Twitch.
There's the secret, guys. You don't have to listen any further. There you go.
And hello, everyone. My name is BlackOni. I'm mostly an action RPG focused streamer, but I play a lot of different things, including first-person shooters and fighters. I'm kind of obsessed with COD right now, as well as Warframe. So those are the two main games I'm playing. But I got partnered July 24th. I had to look that up because it's new and it's weird and it's a thing that happened. And we'll get into all the details about how it all happened, but I'm still honestly processing it. I'm still trying to get used to the idea that this just happened.
When did you say it was?
July 24th. I literally, I was at the Honda dealership getting my car looked at, and I saw on my phone that this thing had happened. And I thought it was just a regular Twitch promotional email that I got from Twitch rivalers.
Almost just sent it out into spam.
So it probably would have went there if I didn't honestly look at the Twitch emails as often as I do, but I saw the email and I was just I gotta read this. I gotta make sure
that
I'm reading
a few beats, you're actually in the moment in the store.
Totally unexpected. And it freaked me out a little bit because I was getting my AC looked at and I was I gotta get back in time to do this tournament thing. And then it was just a lot. It was a lot.
So how long? So you said you didn't expect it. Was it just because you've had a lot of denials in the past, or was it just was it so far from your application? How long did that take to get that after you applied?
I applied June, so it was about a month actually. I applied like
Oh,
June
wow.
26th, and then I heard back July 24th. In terms of the Twitch partnership, like acceptance, and I had gotten denied. I lost count around 8 times. I believe it was 8. It could have been 9 or it could have been 7, but I'm pretty sure it was 8. And after a certain point, you're just like, all right, like I feel like I'm bothering people by putting in applications right now, but if I don't do it, then like it just won't happen. So like I just gotta do it? Question mark?
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
yeah, it was like a part of me is embarrassed to say how many times it's been, but also part of me is proud of it because it's like I'm kind of stubborn, but also like I don't give up on things that like I truly believe in. So it's like a mixture of all of those things happening at once. If that
But
makes
here's the thing for me though, like normalizing that idea, I think is really important because it's almost unheard of for people to get partnered on their first application.
Mhm.
Almost everybody, and we're not talking like 1 or 2, almost everybody's in double digits before they actually get partnered.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's really important for other people to know that this is commonplace. This is to be expected when you don't get the acceptance, that is normal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it sucks because like everyone processes what happens to them differently. Like you may look at that as like I'm not good enough for Twitch. I'm not good enough to be amongst my peers, to collaborate with my peers. I'm not good enough to be considered, you know, an important part of this platform that I love so much. Like it can be so demoralizing. And I felt that before as well. But I also felt that it was important for me to not give up, if that makes sense. So for some people, like they might see that and then just like not ever try again, or
right, exactly.
Yeah.
And the comparison, you see everybody getting partnered. You don't see everybody going like, yay, I did it after 38 tries. You see everybody going like, yay, I did it.
Yeah.
And so then in your head, you have this list of everybody who's getting it and you aren't.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I think also because, you know, you have on your dashboard, you have those checkpoints, right? You're like, oh, I have this many viewers. I've streamed this many times. You hit all the boxes. Now you can apply. So you're like, oh, I qualify. I should be partner, right? And then you get the denial and you're like, well, wait a minute. Like I did everything that you asked. Like what's happening? Madam Gandalf, how long did it take for you to, you know, how many times did you apply and what was your experience like when you got partnered?
So I had been streaming for almost 5 years at that point, and I got accepted on my 13th application. So
I'm pretty sure they wait for at least 11.
Yeah, you know, I feel like it's like a qualifying passage for anybody who's been streaming for over a certain amount of years. There is like that weird thing where when you've been streaming so long that you do start to see as well so many streamers who like will start at like the beginning of the year, a few months later they're partnered, and you're like, how? What magic spells do you have? What is your secret?
And where can I get this grimoire?
Yeah,
exactly. Like what lamb do I need to sacrifice to what like Paylor or you know? And so it was a very disheartening journey. But you do see so many people who give up along that journey. And that is almost even more disheartening to see, is people who you feel are like so close and then they just like throw in the towel and you're like, no, come on, keep going with that battle. But it isn't for everyone. And it is really, really hard. It's not an easy job. People think it is, but it's not. And it's so easy to connect so much of your own self-ego to your stream as well. And every time that viewer count is a bit lower that one day, you're like, what did I do wrong? What am I not doing anymore? How did I mess up? And then you start comparing yourself to others and getting down this whole dark thing that you know you're not meant to do, and you advise everyone else not to do, but you totally do it anyway.
Yeah. Well, and that's, you know, the thing that I've always found fascinating about hypocrisy is it doesn't mean that incorrect information. You can be giving correct information and still not be doing it yourself. It still could be wisdom.
Yeah.
Just technically hypocritical. I do that all the time.
It's almost like
We
what
do
I
that all
say,
the
don't do what I do.
When we're like, work-life balance, taking breaks, avoiding burnout. And me and Hunter are like the worst offenders of the things we're saying. And we're like, please don't be us. Please don't do it.
You feed yourself in between streams and during streams.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, streaming is such like a personal thing, right? And it's such like a, man, like, I mean, we could have a whole episode just dedicated to just the hardships of streaming. And it sounds like,
we could have a month dedicated to the hardships of streaming. Really?
It is a grind as much as it, like, you don't want to phrase it that way, but it is like, especially when you've been doing it for years to get to partnership and then like, starting to realize like that's not the end all be all. That's not the solution to anything. Like, it's just one more step in the journey, right? I mean, you guys, at least for Gandalf, you've been, partner for a month or two now. So what has that been like for you now that you are partner? Like how has things changed for you guys?
I initially stopped stressing so much about numbers, but then like a little while later, the stress for that started to come right back. And it's when you get that initial partner drop, because it happens. Sometimes it's like a week later, sometimes it's like a month later, but there is like a drop that happens suddenly. And I feel like it's mostly for the people who are really trying to help you push for partner. They then look for like the next project to like push for partner.
Really want to talk about that at some point.
Yeah, which is why I personally never did a like push for partner, because I was so scared of that happening. And when you've been doing this for so long, you kind of feel ridiculous saying partner push when you're like, every day is a partner push.
How many times have we heard this? Yeah.
And yeah, it's just a huge roller coaster for sure. You have many highs, and I definitely feel that it feels harder suddenly. I feel more pressure now.
Oh yeah,
initially it was a weight off, but I feel actually a bit more pressure now.
Because now you have the badge. You got like you got standards now, right? You can't get away with being an affiliate anymore.
You can't just get away with everything.
You can't have like technical difficulties like Hunter
Not
does.
anymore.
Like,
Wow.
that goes away when you're partner.
Difficulties, that's so affiliate. Like
Clip it and ship it, chat. Live stream fails.
But that's the thing. You do find that there are some people who like kind of judge you by that check mark now.
Sure.
And before you were like maybe the high quality affiliate, but now you're like, this average partner. And you're like,
that's a really interesting point.
Yeah. Really interesting. And it's something that I think a lot of people do think, even in the back of their mind. They're just like, there's like the echelon of the categories. And so like being a high affiliate and then like a low partner, it's like, all right, I've seen enough of, low partners around in my day.
Do you think people like judge you more harshly now, like new viewers and stuff?
I feel like there might be a bit of that personally. But what about you, BlackOni?
Sort of. So I'm sure this has happened to more than just myself. So I'm going to preface this by saying that.
It's probably guaranteed. Whatever it is you're about to say, it's probably guaranteed it's happened to more than just you.
Yeah. And it's happened before while I was an affiliate, and even before affiliate as well, where, for example, I've been on Twitch front page a number of times this year specifically. And, in between those times, it would be like, wow, there are thousands of people watching here, but no one's saying anything. It's like, well, like you just now said something, like some people just feel like lurking and just watching, and that's totally fine. And like, I appreciate everyone who lurks, because like I do a lot of other stuff. Like you can see my Cintiq here. I'm working on stuff while I watch streams all the time. I can't go type and then draw and then go type and draw the entire time. And then like I'm cleaning up the studio, but right now it's not clean, so I'm not going to show you.
I used to call it lurking work. It was my lurk and work time. I just put a stream up and then I do all my off-stream business.
Exactly. And so there would be people who would come in saying comments like that, or they'll come in like a week later and like, what happened to all your thousands of viewers? It's like, do you
I hate
how this works? Like, obviously I'm annoyed by that, but like, you also have that public perception that if you have a strong viewership on any one day for whatever reason, that it's supposed to be like that all the time.
That's the new standard. That's the water level.
It would be lovely if that was the case.
We all wish like front page was like, you know, a game changer, but really it's just some little spurts and you get some new people maybe, but it's just like, so Madame Gandalf, have you been on the front page?
Yeah, I've been on the front page multiple times, mostly during like charity stream things, but I did get to be featured as part of Women's History Month this year.
Cool.
So that was right before getting partnered as well. So I thought that I wouldn't have a chance of getting partnered that early because you want 3 months after your front page thing, because otherwise your viewers were inflated, and you're like, well, you're the ones that inflated them though. Like, come on.
I didn't do this.
Yeah. Like, it's legitimately through your system. So screw you for giving me viewers. Like,
bad on me for having done this thing to celebrate women. Okay.
Yeah. Exactly. So yeah.
So it's interesting because I didn't even know that affiliates got front page time, because I always heard that it was only a partner only thing. So that's actually, I think, good to know for a lot of affiliates out there that are like, you know, partners get everything, but actually there are some opportunities for that front page time for affiliates too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And keep searching out for them too, because you'll find them in the weirdest spots. Like, for years, Twitch has used my Twitch weekly video that I made back in 2016 in January, so it's really old footage now. They still use that as the like example of what send in for their featured streamer thing. That's been on their page for years.
Oh.
But, you know, does that like, it's a little thing that might get you 1 or 2 people every now and then, but it's still something. And so you kind of hold on to that very
and really
strongly.
the victory as a whole is composed of thousands of little wins.
Yes.
The big wins can be great, but they can also be like any momentum gained from that can be lost in the drop of a hat. Accumulating those many little wins, that's how you build up to an overall success, in my opinion.
1,000%.
Big fan.
I mean, there's not one, like, if you're here wondering, like, how do you make partner? There's not one answer. Like, it is the culmination of a lot of different skills, a lot of different, you know, times put towards different efforts, right? So it's, you know, it's not just like, oh, all you got to do is get front page time X amount of times and then you're going to be a partner, right? Like, it's like, you got to try this and do this and hopefully you get some more people here in this way.
I think that's great. The diversity of approaches that you can take really speaks volumes for how unique you can make your own stream and still nail it. You don't have to conform to a cookie cutter thing because there's just one way to get there. You can craft your own everything from the ground up, whatever it is that works for you. Like, fill in the blanks for your dreams and roll with that as your stream. And there's a chance that there's an opportunity for you because of how unique your stream is, and or how well it actually fits into a cookie cutter kind of scenario.
It's full on Breath of the Wild, you know, like, do it however, what way you want.
Yeah. And everyone's path is different. Like, people even before I'd become partnered, you know, I would see it happen in other people's streams all the time. And it would happen in mine too. It's like, how do I be a better streamer? How do I find success as a streamer? How do I become a partner? Like, all these questions get asked, and they're totally valid questions, but there's no real way of giving you a formula on how to do it. There's only guidelines and advice that people can give you to help you maybe do a specific thing better. Or
like watching the stream scene, you know, like
that's tried and true. That just works.
So do you guys remember the first time you applied for partnership and what the streaming world looked like then?
I do, but it's just like wild. So like,
It's interesting.
I applied for Twitch partnership when like I had no business applying for it. Like, I had like maybe 15 viewers at a time, like before Twitch got even as saturated as it is. And like 15 was a good day. Like that was a great day. Like, holy crap, there are a lot of people watching me right now. There are 15 more people that watching me now than they were yesterday. Like, so at the time they had on their website that you had to have 500 viewers concurrently.
I remember that.
Yeah. Which is just like
everybody was like,
yeah,
super unreasonable. Like
and they never stuck to that either. I found
No,
it always seemed to be really random who they picked.
Yes, which was also frustrating about that.
Yeah, and you always
anyway, I was like, you know, they can just say no, and I'll just try again. I guess, I don't know. And I remember at the time, I didn't even really know about Twitch partnership like that. I think at the time I had gotten connected with DJ Tech Live and DJ Knight and Andy Lunique. I had known him for years prior to that, but he's the one who actually connected me with them, and they were the ones who were telling me about partnership. And Tech was already partnered. DJ was on his way to getting partnered. And I was just like, I don't know what either of these things are. So like, teach me all this information and I'll like figure it out. And they were a huge help in me understanding this world sooner than I did if I hadn't had someone kind of helping guide me through.
That kind of mentorship, that kind of guidance is incredibly valuable.
God, yeah. God, yeah. And then I was just like, you know what? I think I'm going to be a part of this community, this lifestyle for as long as I can think of. So I'm just gonna just try it. No.
Yeah, I mean, that was essentially my attitude back then too. I think I averaged around about like somewhere in the 20s when I was like, I'm going to apply, because there were a couple of other friends of mine who were around about that viewership and were like just getting partner and things like that, because it did seem that they also were picking out some like diamonds in the rough of like quality streamers to really try and build like a beautiful, diverse like community of partners at that time. But so, you know, I didn't lose the hope. And as time went on, you kept applying, and 2016 it was like, oh yeah, this person is really high quality. Or sometimes you would even see a Twitter campaign work for some people. Like they would be like, partner this person, and boom, Twitch would do it, and you're like, whoa.
They always said, don't do that, it doesn't work. And it may just be incidental and circumstantial, but there have been several times when I saw that. But you know, it speaks to the impact of that community too. So it could really just be incidental. It's like the same momentum and force that's causing all these people to go out and blast out those tweets is also showing how many unique chatters. You know, it's going to be the same thing.
Yeah,
a lot of unique chatters in your
with that. Yeah,
exactly. So at the time when both myself and BlackOni were applying, we really didn't know what they were fully looking for. It was just, hey, provide good quality content and you have a chance. And then affiliate was introduced.
Yeah.
So you guys applied before there was an affiliate program. So I'm sure that, you know, your goals and your headspace were completely different, because monetizing was harder because there wasn't the inherent subbing and cheering that there is now that's so prolific across Twitch. So when you started streaming, what were your goals like going into it? What did you want to get out of streaming when you started?
I wanted to get to know internet and video game culture more, because at the time I had just come out of film school. I had to move back to New Zealand because I had some like visa issues. And so all of my connections in film were in like Oregon and Washington. No one in New Zealand. So I like struggled so hard to get any work in film in New Zealand. So I started streaming, and the initial intent was like, okay, maybe I can be an internet and video game media consultant for more mainstream medias. And there is still like a hope of maybe getting into a position, because I don't even think that position exists. I do think it should, though, because I think mainstream media and internet culture seems to have a huge like divide of misunderstandings, and they need somebody to like kind of translate sometimes. Yeah. And same with video games. We often see video games being mistranslated to mainstream media.
What do you mean?
Wasn't Fortnite like the only
simulator?
Isn't that how other games were made by Fortnite? Like,
so yeah, I think that was the initial thing, was to try and get some sort of experience with a place that seemed to provide both internet culture and video game culture all in one spot. And I've always enjoyed being in front of the camera. If I could snap my fingers, I'd be on Broadway. So the being like, you know, in front of the camera thing was also felt quite natural and fun. And I was lucky that a community did grow pretty quickly. Like, you know, I was in the double figures pretty soon after streaming, which felt really fun. Like, whoa, wait, why would anyone want to watch me? And it just, grows. And then suddenly, you know, you quit your day job and you're a full-time streamer even before affiliate things are out. And you're like, well, thank goodness I live at home with my parents. That
definitely helps.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember I really started getting into streaming after having done some YouTube stuff. And my YouTube following still isn't that huge. My Twitch following is a lot more strong than that. But at the time, I was going to a lot of events and conventions, like as media presence, as, you know, before then, I would apply to all these other companies saying, you know, I'd want to be a host, or I'd want to work in the graphics department and do production. And no one would ever give me the time of day, even for an internship, or even just to like say, you know, thank you so much. You know, we'd love to work with you in some other kind of way. Like, it has always just been no for any of that stuff. So I just decided to make my own thing. And that's kind of how my YouTube kind of career really started in that way. Like, I had friends I had played with who we all knew we were hilarious, and put some videos up and see what happens. And then I mentioned Andy earlier. He's a really great friend of mine, and we had got introduced around the time I was already doing some YouTube stuff. And he was like, my guy, you got to come over one time, just once, you know, obviously more than that if you can, but there's a charity stream that I want to do. And I love your personality. I've seen your videos, and I think you would kill it as a streamer. And so I did that event. It was for Extra Life. It was my first ever charity event, and it was my first ever like group streaming event. And I like, there was like a magic about the moment of being together with people. Of not only like helping raise money for kids, there were people coming in just like donating because of what we were doing. And we weren't, you know, we were just goofing off and hanging out. But there was a magic in the air that kind of like clicked with me as soon as I started seeing everything happening and moving in the way that it was. And I was like, I get it. I want it. I need to be a part of this, and I need to be able to do more of this kind of thing as well, because for so long, gamers have always been kind of considered like, you know, social outcasts, or, you know, obviously the media would like to suggest that, you know, a lot of the mass shootings that have happened in society has been a result of people playing too many video games, and just like these really nonsensical things that we've heard before time and time again. And here we were like literally helping to save lives through our love for gaming. And there were people who were coming into the stream who felt that same way. And there was just something about that just made me want to be a part of that in a more direct and more intimate way. And so I think through that, I just wanted to, ultimately, what I want to do through streaming is to share that passion and that love for, you know, for gaming. Like gaming is the reason I decided full steam ahead that I wanted to be an artist. It was Metal Gear Solid that like really kicked things off for me, and I was like, I have to do this. I have to. And yeah,
I love seeing those threads weave together.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Sorry for my squeaky chair.
No, you're good.
Constant.
So streaming has kind of like been like a stepping stone for an industry job, and then it kind of became your full-time thing, and like, it's just become more integrated in your life. Has being a partner changed your goals? Like, are you more committed to streaming? Do you still see it as a path to something else? Or, how has your mindset changed?
I think I definitely still see it as a path to something else. It always was in my mindset, a stepping stone towards other opportunities in an industry I've always been passionate about since, baby steps. And so I think it's almost important that when you're streaming that it isn't your be all end all, because at least at this stage, there's not much of a guarantee of how high you might be able to get on just this as a level. And I feel it's very important to have multiple platforms that you are like building yourself on and growing yourself in multiple ways and seeing what opportunities arise from those to put you into an even higher echelon within that industry. Because you'll be surprised at what your knowledge of doing Twitch streaming actually entails and actually gives credit to. When you break it down on a CV, you do so much. You are your own television studio. You are a one-man studio, and now that is kind of glorious. So, I think it was always another stepping stone, and that mindset hasn't really changed for me. But my projects have definitely, unfortunately, because of how things have been going as of lately, gone from more of a, hey, I want to do more work with like kind of a studio base to actually focusing more solo work. I'm finding that the industry, especially through the streaming side, is so unstable that it is very, very hard to get a solid foundation for group projects. And yeah, it's heartbreaking to see projects that you will spend years on fall away because of like tiny things suddenly. Yeah. So that's been my experience.
Yeah. For me, partnership is definitely a stepping stone to bigger things. But in that same way, like I don't see myself not streaming like for the foreseeable future. Like I feel like it's like a really strong way for me to connect with people, even if I only were to do it once a week or once a month when I'm an old man or something. Like I feel like there's something in my bones that would want me to do this forever, at least to some extent. But like you said, there are a lot of different things that people should be exploring. It shouldn't only be streaming as your only avenue of, maintaining income or working on projects or expressing yourself creatively. I think there's a lot more to the overall landscape of gaming and life, of course, than only streaming. But yeah, for me, it's something that I can't see myself not doing to some extent from here out. And because like I got the comic book thing going on, I have my own illustrations I do. I have, emotes for other streamers and like branding and logos and, marketing decks that I'm doing for other people. Like this is going to be ingrained in a part of like my business no matter what I do. So I'm just like really excited and honored that I have the opportunity to do that for other people. But even now, like in terms of thinking about things I want to do for my own channel, like the ideas are all written down and I have it all laid out and planned out, but like I don't have any time to do it right now. So I gotta get through all
That's
this
the struggle.
Yeah. And I might have to honestly start hiring some video editors to do some of my video stuff because like I want to get back into YouTube, but like right now, there's a video rendering while I'm on this call with you on this podcast because I'm just trying to make sure that I'm not becoming too stagnant in any one area.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like a full-time job in its own of just trying to keep up with all the different things you could be doing, whether it's merchandise or YouTube videos or podcasts.
Oh, there's no end.
There's no
you
end.
could have a list of 30 things, check them all off, and there's another list right behind it of 50 things.
Yeah.
And so, nope, I had a thought and it's gone. Oh, no.
I've got one. So would you say that being a partner now lends you more authority to other opportunities and to potentially pivoting to other jobs in the industry. Especially like, you're doing graphics for streamers and like emotes and stuff. Like I'm a partner. Like I know what you need, right?
Yeah. I would say for sure. I want to say this in a way that doesn't make it seem like, oh, being a partner will solve all your problems. I literally got partnered the 27th, right? That's what I said, the 24th. The 24th of July. Since then, I got hit up about 3 sponsorships, which is like, I've been sponsored to do other stuff before, but never this rapidly. And I'm counting my blessings because there's no telling whether this is going to be like this next month or the month after that. But they're for opportunities that I'm like actually really excited about. And it's not going to be like that for every person who gets partnered. You might not get a sponsorship for a full year, but something that I did along the way, leading up to being a partner, has kind of checked every tick that they were looking for. And maybe becoming a partner was like that last thing that they need to do. I don't know.
I feel this so much.
Yeah, like I don't know if that's the case or not, but like I feel like I had been doing things the correct way for so long, or for long enough, where this is now happening. And yeah, that just goes to show that like consistency, but also just not giving up on this is like a really key part of that. It took 5 years for there to be 3 projects in a month. Like,
yep. I had the exact same thing right after partnership. I suddenly got like 3 emails from different like places wanting to like have opportunities, one of which was somewhere that I had applied for before, and they said that I didn't meet their requirements. The only thing that has changed was I had a check mark. So I decided not to work with them.
Yeah. Honestly,
all right.
Honestly, I support that move.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
I just felt like they were clearly looking at the wrong parts of me if that was all that really mattered. They weren't looking at anything else. So, yeah.
And in my opinion, in turn, that makes me question, how their company functions, the quality of the product. If their attention is not on the quality of what I can present, regardless of, a couple of pixels next to my name.
Mm-hmm. It's wild.
Yeah.
People. I'm not like yelling at chat or yelling at anyone in particular for thinking this way, but like people just start triggering a different reaction from you once you have that. And like, I don't feel like I, as a person, have changed since that has happened. Like, I'm still processing it. It literally just happened a few weeks ago. So like, nothing has significantly changed since then. So it's like, it's just weird that now people want to start working with me, and I don't know. Weird.
Yeah, it's like they take you seriously suddenly. Like,
yeah.
I think that, and in a way, I almost feel like I've seen that from a few other streamers too. Like suddenly, other streamers are taking me a little bit more like seriously.
Not surprised, really.
And yeah, it's a weird thing. Whereas like that, there was one person as well where recently I was like sub to them for like months and months and months, and they like, I met them recently again, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, hey, it's so nice to meet you. I just heard about you." And you're like, "Wait, what?" You're like, "Oh, thanks." So that was an interesting experience talking to that guy. But hey, they're really lovely and they're really friendly, and easy mistakes.
Sure.
So you do have a moment of yikes in your head.
I did a thing. I think it was last year. It might have been a year before. I don't remember anymore. I think it was last year because people still give me crap about it today. It was April Fool's, and as a self-deprecating joke to myself and to my community as a whole, who kind of know my story of applying to partnership 7, 8 times, whatever. I on April, God, this is bad.
Oh no!
I people should have seen it and like saw that it was clearly not correct. I drew like a little purple check mark next to my name, and like, guys, posted it, and people were like, "Oh my God, Oni, finally! I knew it was gonna happen. Congrats!" I was like, "You're kidding me, right? Like you're kidding me." Like,
oh no!
Literally, I think it was almost 1,000 likes and like 300 retweets on it. And I was just like, guys, what is today? Please don't make me spell this out. And like I literally like I had a Galaxy Note at the time. I literally drew in a little circle. It was crudely drawn. It didn't even look right.
I want to see this tweet.
You broke so
Someone
many
dig
hearts.
up this tweet, chat.
And I like people from Twitch started following me, and I was like, "Oh no, this is."
You know what? I think I'm going to try that. I think I'm going to try that soon.
This isn't how to go at all. I didn't even apply at that. Like, I hadn't applied for like 3 months at that point, so I was like, this will be funny because they're like, "All right, funny, haha, Oni."
Everybody will know,
right? But like, honestly, though, like the funny and like not funny part about that is like that actually went to show how quickly people were, at least in my own like friend groups and like people who know my content, how quickly they were to completely ignore the fact that it was April Fool's Day, completely ignore the fact that it was crudely drawn, completely ignore the
just
fact
take you at face value.
Blind support,
you
know?
Oh, this totally makes sense. Oh, duh. Yeah. And I was like, oh.
I've been waiting for this. Finally.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there is that feeling sometimes. I'm sure you got the same thing where a lot of people's reactions when you have been streaming for so long were like, finally, or like, I thought you already were.
Yeah.
So many people who commented those things, you're like, thank you.
Yes. And so, oh my God. All right. One more thing before I let the conversation continue. TwitchCon 2 years ago, we did the panel on branding. We did the Twitch Creator Camp panel. I didn't even know this until after. In that panel, they referred to both myself and one of the other people as partners. And like, I was pretty sure they knew that I wasn't a partner. So like, that was also like super interesting to me because everyone, as far as like meeting me and learning about me, has just always assumed that I was a partner.
Yeah,
so
I mean, you've done so many things with Twitch that I thought you were a partner.
Yeah, thought I was too.
They just realized it recently, but I have, he's always been partner.
He's been a partner. We finally gave him the badge.
Yeah, that's my story.
Oh man. Yeah,
I
go
think
ahead.
also one of the most things that was pretty disheartening with applying for so much was not really getting feedback very often about how to improve or what to improve. I never got any responses when I reached out. I kept being told by people, reach out, find out what like feedback, you can do that. I'm like, really? Do they? I gave up after like the 7th time. I just didn't bother anymore asking for feedback.
Mm-hmm.
But a couple of times right before I got partnered, I kept getting the reasoning from Twitch of it being like I was being botted. They just kept saying to me, you're being botted, you're being botted, you're being botted. And I didn't understand why this kept happening. And I'm just there like, I'd pleaded to my community to make sure it stopped because that was the only steps they gave me was tell your community no. Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks. And that is literally all they would tell me. And I was finding out that other people were also getting these declinings under the idea of like you're being botted. And then my final one, I think I kind of did a big like give up speech, basically a little bit of like, look, you've used me for this, and this on your platform. Like, come on.
Clearly a demonstrated value. If you're giving me
exactly.
opportunities, like that should be validation, right? Like if Twitch is working with you, giving you front page time, like no one wants to be used as like the ideal affiliate, right? Like you don't want to be propped up by Twitch for being a good affiliate. Like you're like, I'm working towards partner. Like I'm clearly showing good things. Like give me that check mark, right? Like I'm proving myself, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. It almost felt like being an affiliate was a hurdle. at times to get over, more than getting partner was before, when there wasn't the in-between step. Because once you got affiliate, I felt like it almost felt like Twitch was comfy to keep you there. They didn't. They felt like that after a while, you know.
We get threw you a bone. What more could you want?
Yeah, you know. That's exactly how it felt at times, and I'm sure there is a part of that is, you know, inner self-saboteur, just
sure.
really talking down on you and saying like, but you when you reach all of the requirements that they ask, and they keep telling you that there's something wrong and that's why you're getting them, even though you're like throwing your like face everywhere. You're like, I'm over here on Twitch, I'm over here on Twitch, I'm over here on Twitch, but I'm also streaming on my own stream full time. And you're doing so much. You're like going to the community events, you're doing all the like charity events you can because you really want to give back, and like because so many people are giving you all these amazing things. And it just
yeah. And what's also been like crazy about it too, I'm sure you've ran into this, you mentioned it a little bit before, is that they've moved the goalposts so many times throughout this process that like, getting a real like direct and strong answer about like what it is you're supposed to be doing better or more efficiently has never been consistent. So, you know, between the number of like your concurrent viewership changing, you know, one of the times I got denied, they waited 2 months to give me a response, and they said within the last 30 days of us responding to you, you didn't have the viewership that you needed, but the 2 months prior to that I did. So like that was never explicitly or even hinted at being a part of being accepted into partnership. Like there's never been like a trial amount after you applied. So like where's this coming from? There was another time when they were doing like their creative push, which was like back in 2016, I think. And then that kind of just died off. They said you can apply as a creative or you can apply as a gamer, but being both you can't do. So like I applied as a creative because I was like, well, I do a ton of creative streams. I do like basically a split of creative and gaming. So if they have requirements for the artistic side, then I'll just try to put everything towards that. And so they said that I didn't have a high enough percentage of streams doing artwork versus gaming, but I was spending longer doing my artwork than I was for my gaming. So they didn't, so they just kind of like said that I wasn't doing enough art.
Interesting. Which so if you had like half as many art streams, but they were 3 times as long, why wouldn't that count?
It's more hours, right? Yeah. Shouldn't it be judged by hours?
You think?
So is it hours or number of times I've streamed, or is it?
Yeah.
Well, I don't understand. Like I do podcasts too. Like, are you going which part of that does that come out of now? Like, so there was just like a lot of like random ambiguity with regards to like how and when they said no to me.
Right.
And like it definitely felt like at a time that it was just like they were just making excuses to just say no. Like,
so one of the considerations that always pops up for me is, if I were on the other side of this equation and I were part of, you know, Twitch's partnerships team, getting people on board, the number of people who apply for partnership would make it completely prohibitive to give detailed and nuanced feedback for each application.
100%.
And so I could see there being some kind of division where it's like, well, this is a legit application. Like this one's like within range. This is a person who's not streaming to 3 people. You know, they've got something going on. There's the chops of, you know, they paid their dues and whatnot. So we can provide some feedback here and not to these other people. But then that becomes kind of weird in justifying that you treat some people differently than others instead of everybody gets the same treatment regardless of 3 or 2,000 viewers or whatever. And so it's like there's I wish it could be smoother. And I wish that there could be detailed and nuanced feedback, because it would not only just improve that promotion from affiliate to partnership, but actually improve the quality of the streams themselves, which of course benefits Twitch as a whole. But it's just a lot of extra work and a lot of extra people hours A lot of extra positions there. That's and then everybody on that team would have to be on the same page. It's just a lot. There's a lot there.
Yeah. And I don't blame them for not having all the answers to all things with regards to that, because like you said, it's impossible. It's impossible.
I wish they did. Can't blame them for not.
Oh yeah, like and I understand that definitely they do not have an easy job, and I would feel the absolute same way if I was running a company and I'm trying to think of what's a great way to try and like skim the top off to figure out what's worth spending basically the time, because time is money and all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then the viewers thing is a good mark. It is, and it is understandable. But when they do say like case by case basis, and you do see some people who don't meet those marks still get partner and be the excuse or the exception to the rule, that is when it starts to get really like disheartening, because I saw it multiple times. People that definitely did not reach any of the requirements still just get partner, and you're like, how?
They would get offered it sometimes. They wouldn't even apply.
Yeah,
like
they wouldn't even handed to them on a silver platter. I had a friend where that happened to her. A staff member came in, hung out for like a week or two, and then said, "Do you want partner?" And there it was. And no, they were not called out recently as one of those staff members.
Yeah,
But yeah, that just kind of happened for her, and I have heard it happen multiple times.
Yeah,
and so when you're the person where that doesn't happen, and the person where it has happened tells you, "Don't worry about it, just keep going, it'll happen," you're like,
yeah. I mean, you have people not making the requirements getting partnered, people making the requirements and not getting partners. So there's this mystery element that goes into this. And when you apply for partner, you have you get the check marks, which indicate that you've passed all the minimum requirements, and then you're given a text prompt to basically sell your case, right? When you apply.
Yeah.
So what did you guys write on that application? Like, what do you think they want?
I still have ideas for my initial application.
Yeah.
I sent mine actually because Shadow Temple did a not too dissimilar presentation on how to become a partner recently. And he reached out and asked for my application essay thing. And mine, basically, I do a fun little first paragraph of just like, this is the kind of vibe we are. Elves, orcs, dwarves, and everyone are like, welcome in my tavern. And then it went into like look, I've done all of these like different like charity group events for the last few years. I've created these unique shows that have never been done on Twitch before. I've done this unique thing. You featured me here. You featured me here. And I've been dedicated and found a family here. That's what it really kind of came down to.
There's a word that you use there that resonated with me that I feel like is a big part of making that case, which was unique, and kind of going into detail about what it is that is unique about what you are doing or what you have done for Twitch. And maybe that is one of the key components to getting their attention with regards to making your case. Because I use that word as well to describe some of the things that I've been doing, the collaborations I was making, the information that I was making available to people just by being a part of this community. My main shtick is that like I entertain, entice, and educate. So like those are all things that I make sure that are happening as a part of this brand, not just on Twitch, but beyond that. Yeah, it's good, right?
That's saucy.
Yeah.
I'm still part of that. I hope you know. I got it. I'm a thief.
Yeah.
Walking away with some of that.
Please do. And in my application, I literally just broke down. I didn't mention my numbers. I didn't mention the number of times I have applied, and I didn't mention like I wasn't salty at all about it. Like I was just like, you know what? I'm applying to this because, not to say that you were being salty, by the way. That was just like, I had done that before. I had been like, you know what? Like this is I've done this so many times and blah, blah, blah. I've been streaming for 70 days straight and blah, blah. Yeah, I've done that thing before and I don't recommend doing that.
The over enthusiastic,
it clearly didn't work that time. But I definitely did mention to them the accomplishments that I've made and the media placements that I've been, things that I didn't even know that I was placed in media for. I had to Google myself and saw that I was mentioned in all these articles or some of these initiatives, or had collaborated with some of these people who I didn't really know at the time were big people, but I just thought they were cool. And it was just all this stuff that just kind of culminated into what made my brand online kind of click with other people. I mentioned that the Creator Camp panel was the most attended and most viewed Creator Camp panel that they had at the time. And I was like, that's got to be worth something.
Yeah.
That. I mentioned helping other content creators get their footing and become a part of the brand as well. I mentioned obviously teaching people how to better themselves. And I think there was kind of a mixture of all of that going on that made the case. So when you do that Twitch partnership application, it's kind of like a job application where you just have to go in and talk about all of your accomplishments and all the things that you have achieved during your journey and make that valuable.
Go ahead. No, it's incomplete. That's interesting.
Because you said you had some ideas about what that.
Well, okay. The thing that stood out to me and for me. So I don't know how this works anymore, but back in the day, I can't remember. There was a number of people that everybody knew that had gotten partnered on their first application. And I formulated this entire process for how I wanted to go about doing it. And I was going to wait until I was well into the metrics of people that seemed to be at a moderate level within partnership. Not where people had gotten partnered, but it's a lot of partners are sitting here and people get partnered before this. So I'm going to wait until I get into that. I didn't introduce any monetization to my channel or anything. And so I built up all this stuff that was a vision toward what I thought was adequate for getting partnered. And I didn't apply until then. And then when I did apply, one of the things that I focused on in the application was growth, not what I had done, but where I'm going and what my plan is for that. And a lot of the business orientation that I had toward that, here's how I'm going to work my brand as a business and as an entertainment identity and as a community hub all together with an emphasis on that business stuff. Cause I was this is a corporation that I'm pitching this to. They definitely are interested in bottom line stuff. Yeah. Let me tell them what I can do for their bottom line and how partnering me today is going to be productive for them tomorrow. That was the approach that I took. And I ended up getting partnered on my first application. So I fit into that rare, esteemed club at the time of people who managed to do it on that first try. And I think that was really why, was because of that focus. Not because I actually offered anything unique, but because of how because I think a lot of what I do
knew
is
what you wanted.
Else.
You knew what you're doing.
Exactly. I cultivated the presentation of it to reflect what I was doing, but also what they wanted, to really shape it in that way.
So no, that's actually really interesting.
Yeah, I've heard many people apply using facts and figures and projection numbers as well, and projections of what they expect their future goals to be able to achieve if based on the growth rate of this and this. And if you understand your math, it's an amazing route to go. I am definitely one who, as soon as I start trying to talk, even just how many followers have you have? I'm numbers.
Yeah, I know. Mine was it was conceptual. I can barely add single digits, legit. So it was really conceptual. It's no, here's I'm at this general kind of volume, and then here's where we're gonna get way up there. But here's how we're gonna do it. I think it was the how that was really important for this for me, because then it showed them how I was thinking about the brand and why that would fit in and be a commitment that we could share, Twitch and myself.
Yeah, I think no, I really like that you said that, Hunter, because it's not something I've thought of. I get asked this question a lot, about like, applying for partnership. And I always recommend, what you guys did, which is like highlight your accomplishments, think outside of streaming, like, BlackOni, what you said, like it is like a job application. Like, so you should, you should write your accomplishments and what creative things you're doing outside of just your own stream or even in your stream, like things that make you stand out, right?
Yeah.
It's not just about I hit these numbers and I have a decent quality stream and I have a good community that's very supportive. Like that's okay. So does like
everyone,
every single person who's putting that application in. Why you, not them?
Everyone is saying they're so positive. Everyone is saying, they're welcoming.
I'm a variety, community-oriented positivity streamer. That's everybody.
Don't take my slogan, Hunter.
I mean, it's
that's my Twitter bio.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like get creative and collaborate. It's a great way to grow and it's a great way to stand out. Work with other streamers, do some cool projects, get involved in like, D&D or something. Like, just branch out and become integrated into Twitch, the community and streaming.
It's interesting you mentioning D&D. What spawned in my head right there was exploring the trends on Twitch. They might not be a good fit for you. Like, I think I'm not good to stream D&D. I don't think I like off stream, good. On stream, not my scene. I watch it, love watching it, but I will not, I can't participate in it. And there are a lot of things that might be trends, positive, healthy trends on Twitch that just aren't the right fit for me. So picking and choosing those is important, but exploring those and seeing which of those you might be able to pick up and run with, because if those work for you and it's currently performing really well, that's great. That's how combinations work to breed success.
Yeah, I think that's kind of an important thing as well when you are doing variety, is especially if you are trying to brand yourself with a certain thing, to find these variety of things that make sense under your brand.
That's true.
And so like I'm a medieval fantasy tavern. So immediately like fantasy games, cooking, singing, and D&D just makes all sense. Even though technically when people look at that as a variety streamer, they're like, hang on, wait, you're in the cooking community, the D&D, the
you mean variety.
And the game, and you're just like, under this umbrella though, it just makes sense. I'm your tavern owner lady who sings, cooks, and like provides you with tales of heroes that come by her tavern. Like that's, I've managed to find a really weird combination that at times worked better than other times. Like when the food community was really popping off at first, it was great that I was there like ahead before the food category even existed. And then the food category died off. And so suddenly the cooking streams were not as like flavor. But I kept going with it because I still really loved it. And I still do it to this day. But then you find like, the Twitch Sings community is really like popping off now. And I love singing. I was always singing on my stream anyway. Now here's a karaoke thing that Twitch has made legit. Cool, let's do it. Like you've got to find those trends and see what works under your brand, because your community will probably love it if you do.
For sure. And like, don't try to do it all either. Like things will change. So like, I'm sure when you started streaming, you didn't do all these things. And I'm sure you don't do exactly all of these things now. Like your priorities have to move around based on, the ecosystem of streaming. What is successful, what's not. Like what is Twitch supporting and what's not. Like music has been blowing up lately. Creative, they pretty much axe it off, right? Like you gotta be adaptable to, you gotta strategize your content and think about like, what is actually working and what's not. Like look at your content, be critical.
Yeah, I feel like what you all have kind of hit the nail on the head with regards to like our application as well, is that like treating value is like a really important part of whether or not you grow in general. And another like really strong bit of advice that I picked up, I don't remember who said it. I think it was a community manager who said, variety streaming or variety streamer kind of scares them off sometimes because it doesn't give them an opportunity to know like what your bread and butter is. And so like saying that you have a focus on something at least is like a really good way of kind of, so like I always say, like, technically speaking, I'm a variety streamer because I play a bunch of different stuff, but bread and butter wise, action RPGs and shooters. Like,
yep. It's good.
No one
It's good
truly does every single type of
game.
content.
Yeah. And like you said before, you have the medieval fantasy setting. So like that allows you a lot of flexibility within that, but it still gives people an idea of what to expect as like a baseline.
Exactly.
And I'm a variety streamer, and I still, when people approach me and go, "Hey, I'm a variety streamer," I'm like, "Yeah, but what do you do?"
Yes.
And I'm like, but I still fit in that category myself, broadly speaking. And I don't have a great presentation like you do with something that is bread and butter. So I give that same answer. And this is one of those hypocritical things where I'm like, that's what I give, but you really need to give me more. I need to hear more of what you're actually doing with your stream.
Well, so I've changed mine from just being I'm a variety streamer to I put variety gamer, variety talker, because my streams have been morphed into more like a focus on just chatting, where we talk about anything from tech to gaming to Twitch and streaming. And then our games are mostly like new games that come out, but almost in any genre. So I've kind of tried to hone in more on what kind of content I do.
I find that immediately adds an intrigue. As soon as you say variety stream, variety talk, you're like, oh, like everybody's
something out of the norm.
Yeah,
honestly, yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, you just got to throw a little something on there.
That's gonna be food for thought for today.
Yeah, for sure. So unfortunately, we do have to wrap up. But before we go, for anyone that's watching and wants to, they're on the affiliate grind, they want to make partner. What is your take-home advice for someone watching right now?
Yeah.
My biggest advice is honestly, right now is an extremely difficult time to try to do this, because it's never been as saturated as it is now. There are more people who are at home with trying to figure out what to do, and there are more people getting into it themselves. So set your expectation that this is a marathon and that this is going to take time, and there are going to be a lot of steps that will change over time that you will have to take in order to get to a place where you're comfortable. The grind never stops, and it has to be something that you absolutely love. This might be a good time to explore if that's it, but it's not going to pop off for you unless you're in it for the long haul.
Absolutely. It's like you said, it's a grind. Streaming is hard. Getting to partner is hard. And my best advice would be, don't give up. Don't be discouraged. Every time that you get a rejection is a time to reflect on your stream and look at what maybe you were looking at improving in a few weeks' time that maybe you can improve now. Look at ways that other people are growing and adding new content, and think of how you can add new content to your stream, and just keep innovating, keep being creative, keep trying to explore new things that you love, and don't give up. That's the main thing. That longevity is everything in the end, because it shows that you can hold an audience for a long time, and that means a lot when it comes down to the big grind of it.
Absolutely. So we're going to do some shout outs quick, but before we go, there is a show coming up next. Your Brand, Your Business will be on, talking about working with agencies. That's going to start in 5 minutes, so don't go anywhere. And Hunter, you want to shout out our sponsor?
Yes, this segment, which was fantastic, and thank you all so much for doing it, is brought to you by Elgato Wave. As part of our Elgato partnership, the Elgato Wave 3 is a USB microphone that's more like a microphone and mixer all in one. With Elgato's Wavelink software, you can easily route your audio from hardware or software applications and control the volume for you and your audience independently, which is my absolute favorite part. Elgato Wave 3 is available now at elgato.com. And Can we still type !Elgato in chat for the goodies?
It is actually closed, but we will be giving away Elgato products every single week on this show and on at least one of our other shows each week. So make sure to follow the Twitch channel because you could win the Elgato Wave and a lot more. So
and check out those other shows all throughout the week.
Keep an eye on things. But Madame Gandalf, let us know where we can find you and what you're up to.
Oh, hi. My name's Madame Gandalf, and I'm not streaming for a couple of weeks. I'm currently on break, but when you get back, be excited to see some brand new D&D shows. Wow, I wish it was brand new TV shows be prepared to see some brand new D&D shows, some more cooking, some more singing than ever, as well as a little bit of magic for everyone here at my Green Dragon Tavern. We may even have a beer sponsor by then. Maybe.
I like it.
Excellent. BlackOni, what about you?
Yes.
Thank you for having me, by the way.
It's been a pleasure being here as well. Thank you for having both of us on here.
Thank you both.
I'm BlackOni. I'm pretty much everything. Twitch.tv/BlackOni, YouTube.com, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can find me, BlackOni. Like I said before, I mostly action RPGs. Play a lot of COD. I'm going to be doing some of that later today. Tomorrow I'm doing a sponsored stream for Conqueror's Blade, which I'm pretty excited about. So that's going to be cool.
What time?
It's going to be at I'm going to be doing 2 streams tomorrow. One's going to be in a morning stream. I haven't decided what time yet, but for the evening stream, that one is going to be at about 7:00 p.m. Pacific time. And like I said, I aim to entertain, entice, and educate. We like to have a good time. We like to give as much information about what it is that we're doing or even our path to getting here. It's just part of what we do. So yeah, it's been really cool talking with you guys as well.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm the Hunter Wild. You can find me at twitch.tv/thehunterwild. You can find me on Twitter at thehunterwildtv. And right here next to the immaculate Lowco every Monday, she and I both own Streamer Square, and we do our darndest to make sure that everybody gets the most information possible about how to stream, how to become a streamer and entertainer, how to navigate the business world, business side of things, how to get that path to partnership, maximize your value on the platform. And I'd like to add one tiny tidbit. I think that this is a marathon and not a sprint, but it's a marathon composed of sprints.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be prepared for those sprints where you're able to maximize your potential and maximize your value to build up to that marathon. Lowco, go for it.
Like a triathlon.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You can find me at twitch.tv/Lowco, LOWCO. Like I said, I do a lot of just chatting. So we talk about things in the industry. We talk about gaming and tech and stuff. And we have a lot of fun doing it. So definitely come by. And speaking of business knowledge, we have a show that starts right after this, Your Brand, Your Business, talking about tips for working with agencies. Don't go anywhere because that's going to start right now. And we'll see you next week on the stream scene. Thanks for watching.